Looks like we got a North Pole.
Hi everyone, and welcome to our first
Yep,
Hi.
right on cue.
Welcome to our first suspense.
Yes.
Really? Is this
Yeah.
we're back here?
Yes, you are back.
You're back, hon.
So typical. Anyway, first of all, I want to say thank you to Jay, who created the music you just heard in your ears. It's wonderful, and we love it so much. So thank you very much, Jay. Other than that, we will jump into this world. So, Dunera is a world of magic. The magic flows through everything. The buildings, the plants, the trees, the water, the people that live upon it. Through every inch of the earth. Magic is the life force of this world, and it is such a beautiful energy and respected by all. Some have the ability to channel this magic in ways others can't. We call them mages, sorcerers. Some call them gifted. Others call them cursed. Some even call them God-touched. You can spot them by the soul creature that is never far from their side. They come in many animalistic forms of the person's abilities and their soul, linking them to the magic in Dunera, the life source. But now we find ourselves in the city of Karnan, a city where technology and nature coexist, where it sits on the coast of the Gold Crest shore, looking out over the ocean. Beyond this city are other settlements and thriving societies, then open valleys, dense forests, and towering mountains, and a world beyond. But first of all, we're going to come around and say hello to everyone here in the chat, all of our lovely players. And we are going to start with the very lovely Jay Gonsgold. Oh, hi, Jay.
Hi. So are we doing character introductions now or just
Whatever you want.
okay? I'm Jay, or Jay Guns Gold, and I'm going to be playing Paula Packer. Should I read her sentence?
Yeah, go for it. Read her sentence.
She is a graceful explorer who would rather be reading. Yeah, and she's a librarian and a dancer, and yeah, she's an explorer of books. So that's Paula.
Perfect. Wonderful. And then we're going to move down to the very lovely Tour School. Hi, Tour School.
Hello, how are you doing? I will be playing Tolan Falk. He is a resourceful seeker who makes something out of nothing. He's an older gentleman, sort of semi-retired, and we'll find out more about him as we dive into this.
Perfect. Thank you. And then we're going to hop over to the Crafting Muse, or V. Hi, V. Welcome back.
Hello, I'm so happy to be back. I'm really ridiculously excited. Yay! So tonight I am so excited to start playing. Her name is Nadi Nakashatru, and she is this very fragile, petite young woman, long blonde hair, and these very startling Mediterranean blue eyes. She's been known to have been a gifted child, and she's sort of at this point in life where she's being released into the world so she can explore more and learn about people and everything, along with her little familiar Prema, who is this silver-furred otter who is a personality all of his own. So I'm very excited to share these two with everyone, and I can't wait to dive right in. And she is, she is a mystical adept who commands mental powers. So I'm excited for this one.
Awesome. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, Julie.
Hi, I'm Julie. I'm playing Charlie. She has a cool sentence that I forgot to bring up immediately. She is an empathic adept who is an etheric conduit. Bit of homebrewing on that. I'm very excited to explore this magic character. I don't typically play casters, so this is going to be fun. And she's got a little seahorse familiar, more leafy sea dragon type, whose name is Allegro. Goes by Al.
I love it. I love it. So before we jump in, please just for a moment check out the links in the chat. Just lots of stuff for the links to the channel, but also our wonderful sponsors who, without them, we wouldn't be able to do things like this. So thank you so much to Bird in the Storm. You can check out their links over there and their merch, and also to Mage Hand Press. And you can see one of our new campaigns using Mage Hand Press materials starting this season as well. So first of all, we're going to jump over to Nadi, and it's sort of mid-afternoon at the moment, but where would we find Nadi?
Nadi loves to explore, so she's probably just wandering through different streets and just being drawn to the shops that have the more unusual and quirky and unique looks to them, because that's definitely what speaks to her. And she loves to observe people. She'll just kind of sit back and watch people going around just their daily business. And she's very fascinated by those who are more into owning a business and doing things with their businesses, or the ones who are going off to the school and going to their classes and everything, because she was basically raised at home in a very sequestered, isolated, sheltered childhood. So this whole new being able to be out and be an adult is very appealing to her. And Prema would be right alongside her the whole time, most likely like chittering away at her when he feels that she's getting too curious or a little bit too adventurous, and trying to keep her from going too far into places he feels aren't safe for her.
Yeah, you can sort of see him sort of twirl and swim through the air, sort of around you. Moves from side to side as you walk through these streets. These streets are laced with both technology and nature. You see almost trees that grow around some of these huge high-rise buildings, cobble paths and cobblestones, and some of the roads you can see dip downwards just slightly as they become almost like a waterway, where you can see some boats drifting past, and you see above you, up in the high rises, these trams with almost like a magical wire generated by this, not a physical wire, a magical one which powers everything in the city. You see many shops, and this place is full of color. There are markets. Shops all sort of open their doors most of the time to let as much sunlight in as possible. And you see other people wandering down these streets, some with familiars at their side, some walking with just friends or by themselves. You see lots of cafes, signs, and on every corner there's a couple of vending machines with treats and drinks and things like that that always light up throughout the day. Is there anywhere that in particular catches your eye? Is there somewhere she normally goes?
She would probably go either towards where she's been starting up dance classes, because she's always loved dancing. Mm-hmm. And it's something she's been wanting to do. But again, her father felt it better for her to stay at home and help out with his getting him ready for his journeys, because he's a sailor. So he's gone here and there type of situation. But she's always liked dancing to music, but she wanted to learn how to be more of a dancer now. So definitely like heading towards dance class or anything that would have to do with plants or gardening, because she loves to make these little terrariums. It's just like this little hobby of hers. And she might actually have like a couple tucked on a belt that she wears, because for her, it's sort of a thing, like she'll take a terrarium, give it to someone she's just met and really likes. It's sort of her way of communicating affection for someone that she's just met. So things like that would definitely be her targets of choice, so to speak. Or she may even just stop and like dabble her toes in the water for a little bit and watch the boats go by.
What is Nadi wearing?
She's wearing, it's a very simple garment. It's almost like a sundress. It's a very pale blue color, and it actually reflects the jewel that she wears. It's supposed to be a necklace, but she wears it on her forehead. So it's this very bright blue crystal that is, you know who's about to jump up.
We can just say it's your familiar, it's fine.
Yeah, he's Prema. So it sits in the middle of her forehead. So she tends to make her clothing complement or match that. So today she's wearing a very pretty light blue sundress and just a very simple brown belt. And there's like two little terrariums in sort of cube shapes hanging off the one side.
Yeah, you can walk past some of these shops. You can stop for a bit, sit on the almost like the canal edges, and dangle your feet into the water. And it's cool. It's not cold, but it's definitely cool. And you can, as you sort of swing your feet in this water, you can look down. And below you, you see the other half of the city, where people do live and live very comfortably. In fact, as you sit there swinging your legs, you can see one of the trams come down on this wire. This almost sort of like a glowing blue light that it travels down on. You can hear the ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk as it goes, full of people. And from the very top of the city, makes a direct line to go straight underneath into the water world of Karnan. Behind you, there is a small shop full of succulents, flowers. You can see that it's more that this woman that's running the shop, it looks to be maybe she started it off as a flower stall and she's just let the nature sort of grow into it. It covers the walls, all the leaves sort of reach up to the ceiling, and you can see ivy wrapping around everything with these sort of red and orange flowers dotted amongst the vines, sort of opening and closing fairly regularly, almost like they're breathing.
That alone, Nadi's like going to go right towards that shop, seeing that, and she's gonna like, you know, almost like want to touch them and feel them and see what they are, and even like see if they have an aroma and everything like that. And Prema's probably like, you know, swirling around her head because he's a little bit agitated at these flowers doing odd things because it's the first time he's seen it too. But yeah, that would be like beeline mode for Nadi, especially with the colors and the plants all combined together.
Oh yeah, you can see all of these plants, and as you touch one of them, you feel that silky sort of petal, and it changes color to a blue as you do this, almost reacting to your actual touch. And as you let go, it goes straight back to orange. And you hear a quick squawk as this sort of almost a blue luminescent bird leaves this bush on the side of this shop. And a lady steps out where this bird flies over and lands on her shoulder as it sort of looks over at Prema and starts like squawking at this otter. Can I help you, dear?
I was just looking at your flowers. They're so interesting. Do they always change like that?
I have no control of them. They do what they do, but they are beautiful.
What are they called?
If I'm honest, I haven't given them a name.
Do you sell? Do you sell them?
I can sell you a clipping of them. I don't normally pot them up as they change color so often. It's very difficult to label them.
They're beautiful. How much would you want for the clipping?
It's a clipping. It's fine. And she sort of quickly reaches up with like these like just scissors almost, like these little, and just like takes off just a tiny little bit of it and sort of holds one out to you. And then she cuts one more and holds it out towards your otter and is like, for your friend, even though her bird is squawking like crazy at this otter.
Nadia's absolutely going to take it, and she's going to do like this almost like little happy dance of glee. Prem, on the other hand, he's probably going to be like chittering at the bird a little bit, and he'll stick out a begrudging paw and like snatch it and just kind of like look at it and look at her with a slight glare. And Nadia will be like, you need to behave, Prema. She's being very nice to us. She gives us a clipping. This is very sweet. It's not bad. It's good. And he'll calm down a little bit, and then she'll pull one of her little terrariums. I make these. I love plants. I love to make these. Would you like it? And it's just this little glass cube, and inside there's this tiny little succulent flower, and it starts off a very pale green, and it feathers out to a deep purple at the edges. And it's got a little bit of moss and a little stone placed next to it. It's just a very simple, tiny plant.
You actually hear the bird calm down at seeing this and sort of twists its head from side to side. as this woman reaches out and takes it with a smile on her face. And it's, thank you. I don't normally receive the plants. I give them. And you can see her sort of wander over to like a till area, and she very carefully places it down. She looks up, straightens it a couple of times until she thinks it's perfect. Is there anything else?
I think I'll be very safe with you, though. I have a feeling you know how to care for it properly.
I like to think so.
Thank you
for
for
out of a job.
That's a good point. Thank you for this. I can't wait to have it grow at my house.
No problem. And she sort of smiles and starts tending to these. She's got some of these flowers and some of these plants potted up, but most of them seem to be growing from the wall that she is tending to. And you can see long vines from the ceilings where she seems to be holding almost like a small tub, like a wooden box more than anything, with what you would recognize, making these almost like a plant feeder. And you see she's literally holding up these almost like granules, holding them up, and some of the leaves close over them and sort of retract back up into the ceiling as she feeds them.
I'd absolutely be watching with absolute fascination. Just, this is incredible, and even more excited now for my special new clipping. And I'll tuck it into a little pouch on my belt just to kind of keep it safe and give it a little pat. And then seeing Prema's, I'm gonna, I need this too, because you might lose it like you lost the last one. I keep it safe for us both, okay? And he'll kind of like huff, almost insulted, but kind of like acknowledging, probably not my thing. So they'll just kind of wander away, and she'll look over her shoulder a couple times, just in awe of that lovely growth of green and everything like that.
You do see a boat pull up at the side and start unloading more and more plants as she greets this man on the boat and starts ferrying them in to her shop as you walk away. And you can turn around the corner, and at the center of this street is a huge tree. A huge, huge tree. And you know this is the oldest tree in the city. And it scales almost as high up as the tallest buildings here. And weaves amongst them, or weaves like amongst the alleyways, and you can see all the branches reach out, covered in leaves. And this is the tree that this city almost records the seasons by. I don't even know which one that was. That was so super fast. Yeah, Hemingway. I love Hemmy. And there he is. Majestic. And this is the tree everyone knows is the season tree, because they judge their seasons not on how cold the weather gets or how warm it gets or snow falls, but on what color the leaves turn and if they fall from this tree. And at the moment, it is very, very green. And you can hear lots of life in this city. Not just people, not just the chatting of people. You can hear radios playing. You can hear the water and the ocean. You can hear music. You can hear the chattering of people, as well as the chattering of birds and cicadas running through this city. And you know that not too far from down this path is a dance studio, a small one, but it's where you have met someone before. And you know later in the evenings, a class is run there.
Nadia's absolutely going to be dancing to the music that she's hearing, just kind of like she's really like truly in her own little world right now. Doesn't matter if there's people around her. She's just going to be dancing, hearing this music, and she's going to start kind of making her way over to the studio, because she's going to just peek in and see if maybe something's going on, even though class isn't until later.
You can peek inside, and there's no one in there, but you can see very much how you left it last lesson. And the sky itself is starting to grow a little darker. The afternoon is coming in. Summer's coming towards an end, and the evenings are getting darker quicker. And you can see the lampposts start to light up, and also some hovering lamps that seem to drift next to the trams and along the waterways that just hover just above the water, start to light up as well. And they're almost not needed, because within the greenery on the walls, almost like fireflies, here and there things start to light up. And it's almost like fairy lights. It decorates some of the pathways. You can see a lot of the alleyways aren't lit up with this artificial type light at all, and only this natural light. However, they don't glow a yellow, they glow a blue. And we're going to hop over to Paula. Where can we find you as it comes into the late sort of afternoon of the day?
During the afternoon, Paula is wrapping things up at the library at the university. She's putting the last books on the shelves and maybe saying goodbye to some of the students who are going home for the day. That had questions about their homework and whatnot. She's going to go to the bathroom, and she's going to change out of her button up and slacks into her leotard and like sweatpants, and she's packing her duffel bag that she keeps under the counter at the library, and getting ready to go teach her dance class.
And you can get ready sort of as you leave to come back out with all your gear on. You're in this library, and you can see some books reshelving themselves now that you've sort of clocked off. They don't seem to do it when you're here, though. They sort of wait till you've gone and finish up anything so that you don't have to stay too late at the library. And you hear sort of like a bang on one of the windows, and you see Noah just like waving frantically at you, just like with a smile to say goodbye, as you see him head off with a pile of books. You're pretty sure he's supposed to have returned by now, but you let him off every now and then.
When I see him motion, I'm gonna kind of like do a little dance, and raise my eyebrow.
You see him sort of tries to gesture back, and you see him sort of look at the books for a second, and then quickly rush off. And you know he's probably gonna go drop them off somewhere, because he knows he's gonna be late for that dance class if he doesn't drop them off sooner or later. And he's late most of the time. He's forgetful, not of the class, of the time itself. But you can walk through the library, and as I said, as you leave, you see these books, you feel them pass behind you, sort of packing themselves away. You see the odd students still lingering, but as they see you leave, they pack up themselves. As you walk out of the academy library and down the huge marble steps, and through down into the huge welcoming hallway, which shows a huge sort of mosaic on the floor of the city itself. And there are other students returning to their dormitories. There are those who are leaving for home. And you see teachers sort of laughing and joking with each other on the way out. And the two huge double doors, very, not necessarily wide, but very thin, all the way up to the top, with this sort of carved archway. And one of them is ajar, letting in that sort of golden hour light as the sun starts to go down. And you step out onto the cobblestones, and you see the riverway and the boats all lined up, ready to take people across to the main part of the city.
Do I know if that's where how I get to the dance studio?
Yeah, you know, to the main part of the city, you need to go down the riverway.
So while like tying, as I'm like walking and trying to tie my hair up in a bun at the same time, and I have like 2 bags over each shoulder, and I kind of board one of the boats like I do every single day. And
there's a man there that holds his hand out for you just so to keep the boat steady as you step in. And almost like a gondola pushes off. Though, again, you know, he doesn't need to power this boat. This boat seems to be on a course on its own. You teaching a class tonight then? Another one.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think I'm gonna want to introduce one of my students to my my boss at the cabaret.
Oh.
And yeah, no, he's really talented, and I just think that he'd make a great addition to the team.
Wow, sounds good. It sounds like you're getting more and more people every day.
Oh yeah, no, it's really packing up in there. Every night we have a full house now, it seems.
So you're going to get a bigger studio in the end?
Oh, that's the goal. One day I'd love to have like a big facility with lots of rooms, and I could hire other instructors. That'd be awesome.
Well, I'm sure you'll get there. I'm quite happy in my boat, but it's nice to see other folks doing well.
You know, I'm sure you'd probably make a pretty good dancer with the arms from rowing. You could like lift people up.
He throws his head back. He's like, you're not going to rope me into a class that easily, but nice try.
One of these days.
Yeah, you say it every day. And after a while, after about 15 minutes, you come round and you can see the main tree in the center. It's got a little bit darker now. And the boat pulls up at a small set of steps, small set of stones, and beneath you, you see people swimming or just moving down below. People can breathe down there. You can see the other streets going down and down, but this water is clear. And you can see fish swimming underneath, huge fish, some of them, but they seem to go about their own business. So much so that you can't tell if these are people's like soul familiars or just the nature itself. But this man holds a hand out to you again as an offering to help you out of this boat onto the steps.
And Paula like very gracefully like takes his hand and does a little curtsy, you know, kind of like, this is what you can do if you take my dance classes, you know, kind of showing off a little bit.
He just sort of shakes his head, smiles. He's like, look, maybe next week, maybe next week.
All right, I'll hold you to it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that, as he just sort of like pushes off in this boat where you can see some other people waiting.
Kind of shout, see you tomorrow.
He just sort of raises his hand up and gives you a wave. And you're in the main high street. You can see that tree, and you can see where your dance studio is, effectively, further down the road. And you see someone stood outside, waiting, looking quite eager. Nadie, how are you stood or waiting outside this?
I would not be standing. I'd be like kind of dancing and just moving around and probably touching the lights as well, the natural lighting coming from the plants and everything like that, and just sort of humming to myself as I'm moving. And Prema's probably swirling around, just sort of making sure I don't dance off too far, or also keeping an eye out too for Paula because he knows it's almost time. But basically like in my own little world.
And Paula, you see this. Oh, you're muted, Paula.
Hey, Nadie. Hey. Paula's gonna kind of like wave to you and try to get your attention as she walks up.
Oh, Paula, you're here. I'm so ready. I've
Wow,
been practicing.
You're here early. I really appreciate it.
Well, I love the dance class. It's fun. It's nice to get out and meet people who like to move around too to the music.
You know, I wish Noah would be on time for once. You know, he's really talented.
Maybe he just forgets because he's so talented he takes longer to move to get here because he's dancing too.
Yeah, that's an excuse. But yeah, we should head in. I'll unlock the lockers for you. And Paula will just head in and lead the way into the studio.
Yeah, just describe this studio to me. How has Paula made it her own?
It's a really small space, really small. The class can't really hold more than 4 students. There is a nice mirror that Paula invested in, that's along one of the walls, but the other walls are totally unpainted. The floor is kind of it's stained, the owner of the building before must have been some kind of factory or something, because it has all kinds of oil stains and whatnot. But yeah, the lighting is not great. It's a little dark, but it kind of adds to the atmosphere and makes it a little bit more moody.
As you sort of get ready for the class, you hear sort of this thudding of footsteps come screeching past this, and in the doorway, Noah, with his hand outside, he's as he sort of bends over, trying to sort of catch his breath again. He's like, I told you I'd make it, miss. I did. Oh God, where are my house keys? And he just sort of starts fumbling around in his pockets.
Of course, the one time that you actually made it on time, you lost your keys. I mean, do you think it's on the road, or do you leave it at school?
I don't know. I just know I had a splash back there.
You're not the best at multitasking, are you?
No,
Maybe
my
right.
mom says that all the time.
Do you write yourself lists to help? Check 1, get ready for dance class. Check 2, grab keys before leaving house. Check 3, get here on time. You might want to stress that. Just an option.
I'd probably lose the list if I'm honest. But
that's a good point.
I'm here. And he just sort of gestures to himself up and down. I'm here.
Yes, I suppose you are. Nadi's here. I don't know if the others are gonna make it today, but we could just get started with just the 3 of us. If that's okay with you guys.
I mean, yeah, fine. I've got all the time in the world now. Well, until class tomorrow. But other than that, I've got all the time.
By the way, Noah.
Go ahead.
By the way, Noah, did you read my notes on the assignment that you gave me the other day? You got half the questions wrong, and you have the exam in 2 weeks, so you should probably
study. Yeah, I know.
Study. Yeah.
Thank you for that, though. It does kind of bring it to light. Yeah.
That you need to study.
Yeah.
For once. I mean, I appreciate that you're taking the time to come to dance lessons, but make sure you're prioritizing.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Well, as long as you have it under control.
He looks questionable at that, but he shrugs it off again anyway.
Do you need help with studying?
Oh, no, I can study. I just don't. I probably should.
That's not usually the best way to go about it.
No, it's not. No, it's not. But Paula here, sorry, Mrs. Packer, is helping me.
Then you're very lucky.
I am. And he just sort of like smiles and nods to both of you. And you can see him just gradually getting his breath back. It's like, okay, then.
And you know, Nadi, I don't know. I mean, I know you don't go to the academy, but if you ever have questions or you want to use the library, our doors are always open.
Oh, I'd love to get some books. I love to read. They keep me company.
Yeah, we could read together. I love reading in the same room as other people that are reading. So that could be a lot of fun. We should do that sometime.
Oh, absolutely. And you're going to see Prema, he's almost like clapping his hands because he too likes to read.
But for now, we dance.
That's my favorite.
We dance. And you sort of see him just take off and pull off his jacket. He's just got like his school shirt underneath that he's rolled the sleeves up, and you can see the side pocket. And you see a pen that is definitely leaked in the top pocket, and a small red, almost shimmer of this little gecko that pokes its head out of the pocket before diving back in again. Okay.
Noah.
Yeah.
Your pen, it may have broken.
Yeah, it does that all the time. It's fine. It's the third one. It's because I chew him. The end of the ravine. When I'm thinking, you know.
Sounds stressful.
No, just a habit. Mum hates it, but it's a habit.
Your friend's going to be okay with the ink pocket?
And he sort of like literally pulls the pocket out. Is like, yeah, no, he's fine.
All right. As long as you're sure, I could maybe help you a little bit, but it's your shirt.
Fine. I've got like 5 others at home. One without an ink stain.
Yeah, Nadia's going to smirk because she was already thinking like how many are stained.
Yeah. You've seen Noah before. You know he's like this chaotic ball of energy that doesn't really stop. And Apollo, you know Noah very well, pretty well. See him probably almost every single day, during the day and in the evening. And you probably keep an eye on him. You know he's useless at most things, but he's not dead yet, so he seems to be okay.
Listen, one of these days we're going to get you to break that habit, because I am fairly certain that if you ingest some of that ink, it could have severe implications on your health. So
no, it'll be fine. My tongue went blue once, but that was fine. That was a different pen.
That doesn't concern you in the least?
Should it?
I'm going to say yes on that one, yes.
Oh, it definitely should. There's all kinds of chemicals in that ink.
Well, yeah. I don't have that pen anymore, so.
Well,
and he just sort of smiles and shrugs.
Listen, why aren't we dancing? You're distracting us, Noah.
I'm not distracting anyone. As he sort of looks fairly offended as he's still rolling his sleeves up. And he turns up his trousers that look a little bit too big for him, but he turns up the bottom so it doesn't fall over.
And at that point, Paula will turn, face the mirror, and are we audible? Because I know I see white screens.
Yeah, I've just seen white screen. Zoom's gone.
Oh, that's
it's just a giant.
Yeah, I just know if I can be heard. I'm gonna listen.
Hang on a second. Let's pause this.
Oh yeah, we can. They can hear.
They can still hear.
They can hear. That's
be in the chat.
Yeah. Very worthy.
They can hear. We got confirmation. They can hear at least.
We've just got giant versions of ourselves.
Cancer. I think we had a hiccup. Gotta love technology.
Hang on just a second.
Theater of the mind.
Exactly. Close your eyes, everyone. This is theater of the mind. Envision it in your head.
So
It's fine.
Paula will take off her sweatpants and face the mirror and assume first position and wait for everyone to follow her.
Naughty would immediately, like, whatever she's doing, she's right there behind you within seconds.
No, where you sort of go, yep, right, and quickly sort of shuffles behind you, sort of, you see this little gecko poke out of his pocket again, and he just quickly pushes it back in. Right.
And yeah, and Paula begins teaching the class with she's incredibly graceful and you wouldn't be able to tell by like seeing the way she walks or the way she exists in the world, but when she's in dancing mode, she just turns into like some kind of angel of motion. And yeah, from her fingers to her toes, she gets in the zone, and she teaches you all how to move. And she's playing the music from like this really old boombox that's just like not very good audio quality, but it has character.
Right, okay, everyone. I think we are going to go for a really quick break just to try and sort out these cameras with whatever is going on. So we will see you all in a second. Please stick with us. We will be back in a moment and try and sort out these cameras. See you in a minute.
Like the cat earthquake going on. Oh gosh.
Oh, hi. I think we're back now. So we are going to pick up. We are actually going to hop over now as Paula teaches this dance class to Noah and the D. We are going to head over to one of our other characters, to Charlie. Where would we find Charlie? And what does Charlie look like?
So Charlie is probably at this point closing up the flower shop, which is not the same flower shop, but there are many of these because this place is full of plants. And so as like evening wears on, I think at work she's got kind of like an apron kind of deal that just has like a really cute Hawaiian shirt print all over it. It's this place is just very punny. It's called Tarragon Alley, and we adore it. So she does actually live there. There's an apartment above the shop that she rents, or kind of like in exchange for working at the shop. It's like board. So as she's putting stuff away, she's got just like a bunch of layers, kind of this mildly unkempt look to her, but probably cut her hair herself, and it's She seems very like zen here though, so tending to everything, closing up any little like cupboards and sweeping up her little seahorse familiar. Tends to just kind of cling on, as seahorses do, to whatever they can curl their little tail around. So it's either like her collar or like the arm of her glasses or even in her hair. It's usually not very far. He stays very close to her. And he has this kind of almost broken glass look to him. Or like impure quartz, where it's like shot through with different veins of like a maroon and purple kind of veins through it. And just like this kind of faint jittery glow, almost like having a TV on at night. And at this point, there haven't really been a whole lot of people in today, so she doesn't have a whole lot to pack up and stuff away, but she's probably heading over to check on her brother's apartment, which isn't super far away, but it's still like a tram ride, and yeah, to a similar kind of part of town, but just a few blocks away, that it's just easier to take a tram.
Yeah, you can again walk down the high street. This is all very familiar to you. This one seems to have a lot of vending machines on this street that's sort of like lighting up as it gets darker this evening. And you can see a whole section of the main tram stops. All of these sort of blue magical energy sort of wires sort of seem to start here at these pillar posts as they sort of take off up into the city, across and down. And there's lots of people leaving work for the day. People are piling on. They seem happy enough, sort of all hopping on this tram and heading off. And it's a slide door. There's no sort of magical mechanical thing with this. It's literally a pulled door, and they look at you and they sort of offer you to come in.
I'll hop on in. I've left my apron and turned the sign back at the shop and hop in, just kind of, I don't know if it's anyone familiar, but just wave to.
There's so many trams. You can go like weeks without seeing the same tram sort of driver again.
It's pleasant, just about everyone. And then when she sits down, are there seats, or is it like
there are seats
standing?
And there's a standing area as well. It's more if you can find a seat.
Okay. Well, during this rush, there's probably no seats, so she'll like grab onto like one of the poles and just takes up very little space. Yeah, she's not like super small, but just like seems to take less space than she needs to. It's not too far. It's maybe like 3 stops.
You set off, you can feel that slight jolt as the tram starts to move, and it starts to slide along and then starts to go up just a short way, not too high. And you can look down at the waterways below, you can look down at some of the cobbled pathways. You see lots of people on their way home, some going to work, and some people just out enjoying the night. The city really starts to light up, both with the nature and with the lighting itself that is dotted throughout the city. And as you're on this tram, it's not quiet, but there's no sort of shouting or anything. There's some people having conversations. You can see 2 kids at the back on the way back from the academy, and you can see that they've both got their familiars with them, and their familiars seem to be chatting and chirping amongst themselves, just as the children are. You can see a cat sort of awkwardly looking at this bird that's hopping around, almost like a very large crow that sits on this young girl's shoulder, and this boy's cat is sort of not batting at it as it goes through, but looking at it and looking quite interested in it. And by the time those 3 stops are reached, it's pretty dark in the city, but there's a lot of life here still. All the coffee shops are still open, all the restaurants are open. You can look down and see just light sort of glaring out into the streets. And you can arrive at your brother's apartment. It stops almost like at a balcony level, which this balcony seems to have access to lots and lots of apartments all the way up this building. Lots of sort of draping plants and flowers are hanging over the sides as they've sort of grown, sort of cascaded over. And the door opens and lets you through.
So I'll hop out and make my way over to... I don't think his place has like the most spectacular view, but most places here have some access to like open air. It's like the outer balcony of places, and she'll let herself in and grab the mail that's on the floor and just like set it on the table where it's been piling up because it's been about 4 months, and just checks on mostly the plants, and just kind of waters things. And even like as she'll pass by, there's one that's just been failing. It's just not getting enough light, and everything she's tried is just like, it's just the angle that this window is at. It's just not getting enough. So she's been giving it like a little boost of magic as she goes by, and it seems to just kind of like perk up just like the slightest bit. And almost like how when you pet a cat, like their entire back, they'll just kind of like lean into it. Like that's how it responds. And it checks his like answering machine. There's nothing new. And kind of putters around, checks her phone. Or it might be a good time to describe what our cell phone situation is like.
The cell phones are pretty simple. It's almost like a flat sheet of glass that you can see all you need to see on that. They vary in sizes, but otherwise they pretty much look the same. And in this apartment you can see almost like, it's kind of like a house phone, but it's effectively the same thing that's in your hand. You can just slot it onto the wall. And there are letters everywhere. Could you roll me an intellect check, please?
Sure.
First roll.
First roll. Do I just hit the die right next to my intellect score?
Yep, literally just click that.
Any DC?
Any DC is fine. Okay.
Big 9.
You sort of, as you're sort of checking your phone and sort of going through, you go through these letters, you can sort of move the plants here and there as you water them. You see a coffee stain that wasn't there last time you came to check on your brother's apartment. Just like a small circular ring, as if someone has knocked a coffee cup.
Is there still a cup there?
There's no cup there.
Okay. I get this. She just kind of gets like, not quite panicked, but just like on high alert, like immediately. And starts looking around this apartment. It's not a huge place, but it's like kind of 2-bedroom type thing, whereas hers is more like a single room studio type deal. So just very quietly, just like peeking around corners and listening.
Look around, and there doesn't seem to be anyone in this apartment. There's no forced entry, there's no nothing. there also doesn't seem to be any mugs used at all. Though there is you can see just out to the side and sort of like in the bin. This isn't something you'd normally throw away. This looks to be almost like a travel mug. A travel mug, and it's got the name of the coffee shop on the side, and you can see a dribble of dry coffee down the side of it.
If I pick it up and look at it closer, do I recognize the symbol? Is it like a local place?
Yeah, it's a local place just from down the road, really, not too far. Probably sort of a tram stop away. Down on just to the lower section, as you see, just sort of like almost in a circular sort of way, and a small kettle pot at the center for a coffee shop called Brew and Bindings.
Looks like we got a new friend.
Well, grab her phone and try Miles' cell phone for the umpteenth time, and probably leave another message. And so I'll just be like, "Hey Miles, it's me. I don't think you've been by in a while, but everything seems fine. But I think, I don't know, or if you're back in town, just call me back. Miss you." Yeah. I'll kind of write or like take note of the shop, and I don't think it's one that I've maybe been to once or twice, but it's not like my usual stop. So perhaps pay a visit later.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll just make sure to lock up after myself as usual and check the windows are closed and stuff like that. Just, there's not much to take. If anyone came in, it's just like, it's not threadbare, but he brings everything that he really cares about with him on these business trips that he seems to take.
And you can leave the apartment. And as you do so, we're going to hop over to our final new character. So where would we find Tolan Folk before the sun goes down? What would he be doing, and what does he look like?
Tolan Folk is an older gentleman. He has sort of a full salt and pepper beard, sort of crow's feet beginning to form at the corners of his eyes, sort of full head of sort of short, but not well, probably about 2 weeks past when he was 2 weeks past to have it cut for it to look nice. Just hasn't gotten around to it yet. He has normally around his shop, he owns a small junk shop, not in a great part of town, a little bit more deserted. And unlike a lot of the other shops that are sort of open front shops and open air, his has a small closed door. It has a 6-pane door, so you can sort of see through it, but the glass has been sort of smoked over, so you can see light through it, kind of like that pebble glass, but not really get a good look inside. It is a very messy shop. It is a junk shop. Doesn't really have a name, just Mechie Arcane repairs above one of the windows. And if you walk into it, it's sort of this smell of oil and sort of old electrical fires, that sort of really pungent smell you get when you have wire insulation burn. Something else lingering in the air as well. Probably some maybe burnt cooking or something, but golly, really burnt cooking, if that is in fact what it is. He, while working, wears a sort of a small set of not glasses as much for vision, but just magnifying so that he can work on small things, puts them away in his pocket. But at the end of the day, he'll have gone through his routine, which isn't really on a schedule or on a time, but more just things that he does during his day, having gotten up, gotten some coffee, puttered around the shop a little bit, picked up whatever might have interested him or not, maybe just sort of read some junk papers, some news, whatever might be happening around, not necessarily current events as much as just something to look at. And as the day would wear on, he would, again, maybe hit a project or two, or just sit for a while sometimes, kind of glance around, think of the old days, reminisce, get a cup of tea out of a old-fashioned kettle, not one of the new ones that everyone has that are run off of magic. He would actually put an actual metal kettle onto an actual stove burner, and in an old sort of cracked, bent, I really should say, metal mug that you more likely would see sort of in a campsite, will make himself a cup of tea, sometimes lingering too long over the kettle or over the brewing of the tea itself, and maybe have to start over, which he doesn't mind. If he's gotten it too strong or not the way that he wants it, you just toss it down the sink and start again. A lot of times in the early afternoon, you'd find him in an old sort of chair where he's probably dozed off. And then, but towards the evening, around 4 or 5 o'clock, you'd see him sort of force himself to get up with a heavy sigh and begin to find his coat, which is sort of an old, tattered, mid sort of thigh canvas idea, almost like a duster, but very old, very worn, that he would put on. And he would usually take probably 3 or 4 times to get out of the house, turning around because he had forgotten something, or thought of something he might have needed, but probably really didn't, and fill a pocket with a little book, or go back because he had forgotten his phone, and then at that time he left his keys. He seems to have a little trouble, taking a little too long to get out of the house, not really wanting to go, but forcing himself to do so, and would head out onto this sort of darker street, not quite as magical as others, and walk towards where he goes every evening to brew and bindings. And as he walks past all of the amazing, enchanting wonders of this city, he seems not to notice them at all. The blooming flowers, the fairy lights of the insects, even the trams on their magical cables. However, once in a while, he will notice some odd light or door that has a sort of different lock on it. You'll see a small smile cross his face, just sort of to himself, at sort of very mundane things, and then continue on his way.
this street you go down that's barely lit. In fact, there's only one lantern really that's hovering, and it's on the waterway next to the street you walk down. The buildings are quite dark around here. It's not that there's no plants growing, just not the same type. All the flowers have closed as the sun has gone down. And ahead of you, you see a boy who looks absolutely worn out. You see him drop a pair of keys, and you see a phone tumble out of his pocket and fall into the river. He keeps running, he doesn't seem to notice. And not too far ahead now, you can see that light spilling onto the street from Brew and Bindings, the coffee shop you go to every single day. And there's very mild music playing. Nothing too over the top, nothing too loud, just background noise, calm music. But there is a soft light radiating from the windows where you can see their logo printed across the glass. And as you approach, it sort of flickers and changes to a nighttime sort of color as it switches over. And you can see the regulars. There seems to be the odd new person pops in every now and then, but this is very much a cozy regulars cafe with sofas, tables, wooden chairs that aren't particularly comfortable, but people seem to choose to sit on them anyway. And almost like a bar. And they do serve alcohol, but people don't drink it here. They come here for the coffee, and you can smell it all the way down the high street.
As that smell hits him, it sort of brings back memories, sort of early mornings and coffee over campfires, a little too scalded, maybe a little too hot in the kettle. That's why he comes here. That's why not many other people do. Their coffee's quite bitter, a little bit burnt. But that's how Tolan likes it. It reminds him of different days. And each night that smell, as smells often do, sort of for that split moment, take him back to a different time. He walks forward, knowing the few people who will see there, starting to look forward to the high back chair, sort of shabby kind of soul, but matches him a little bit, that he usually goes to each night. And even though there's that happiness in him of being here, he does stop for a second and almost brace himself before opening the door and going in.
And that small bell rings as the door opens. It's a metal bell. It's not a magical one. The shop seems to favor less magic and more skill, natural skill. Apart from the only slightly different thing is the man behind the bar. This is all the dark hair, and he looks at you and smiles and gives you a little wave and holds up one of the coffee mugs as he does.
Evening, Havrick. My usual, please.
Evening, friend. And as you do, you can see this sort of almost spectral blue Great Dane, two massive paws jump up on the side of the bar and look to you with sort of like this soppy big grin on the face, and the little sort of ears as they move as it looks at you and looks back to Averick and back at you again.
Clyde.
He barks.
And Tolan sort of heads over to the counter to linger while Avrix gets his coffee.
And you see him sort of start sorting out this coffee. They're sort of trying to move around Clyde more than anything. Clyde does not become effectively pass-throughable for his other half. He seems to enjoy being in the way as he starts to make this coffee and that smell, and you can hear that as the steam starts to rise from the coffee pot. He's like, how have you been, Tolan friend? Where have you been? Today, I mean.
Shop, lots of projects, lots of things to fix.
Good. What kind of projects? Anything interesting? I love gadgets.
Yeah, well, same, most of the same. This new things, widgets, they break so easily these days.
That they do. In fact, that's reminded me. And he sort of looks down and he sort of pulls up this other part of a coffee machine. He's just like, I may need you to fix this.
I'll take it with me. Bring it back in a day or two.
Thank you. And he's sort of finishing off this coffee as he sort of slides it across the bar to you, and you can see just like a small biscuit on the side.
How's your leg treating you? Still working okay?
Yeah, it's pretty good. And he sort of lifts it slightly and sort of pats it on the side. You sort of see this almost mechanical leg from the upper thigh down. It's doing me well. Thank you.
Glad to hear.
And he sort of smiles. He's like, I didn't know you could get a stiff joint with them, though.
Well, to make them more real. Sometimes it's magic likes to find a way to make things real. Sometimes.
Well, and he sort of bends it a couple of times and sort of leans to the side. So it feels it.
If you have problems, I'm sure someone at the academy could give you a hand.
Oh gosh, yeah, no, I'm sure. But no, it's done me well, and I think it will continue to do so. Aggie popped by here earlier, said you didn't answer the door.
Oh, I didn't even hear her. I'll be sure to listen tomorrow. And he kind of looks, did she leave anything for me? Looking to see if there's a plate of cookies or sweets.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, sort of same again as last week. And he sort of reaches down and there's this small tin with the pattern over the top of it is the only way I can describe it is grandma pattern. Just think of the sort of higgledy-piggledy pattern, and he opens it, and inside you can see these sort of biscuits mixed with like when a boiled sweet melts and almost creates a stained glass sort of effect. But these again.
Well, they're always tasty.
They are, though. He sort of like rubs his jaw. He's like, I may stop eating them just for a little bit.
Well,
you should invite her in for a cup of tea every now and then. I think she,
when she comes by, if I hear, yes, you're right. Of course, I should. I'll try to do better.
Not better. Just listen more. Talk more.
Well, I've probably got my fill for the day.
That's fair enough.
We'll see you tomorrow. And he heads over to a bookshelf where he takes the next book. Doesn't necessarily see what it is, but where he has basically just been moving book by book down the shelves and goes over to the sort of frumpy old high back chair and sort of sits where he has sort of a view of the room, so he can sort of see Clyde there by the bar and the regulars and Averick, and reads, sort of sips the coffee, more smells it probably, but still finishes it over the next hour or two.
And you sort of lose yourself in this book, not necessarily in the book itself, in your thoughts. Book is almost an excuse. In the background, you can hear Clyde's definitely doing something he shouldn't. As you can hear probably something clatter as that huge tail of his, as much as it's spectral, he's chosen not to be, as it crashes through some of the mugs, and you can hear Averick sort of break a little bit. Someone laughs, and the evening goes on.
As gruff as Tolan is, when he hears the clatter behind, there's a little small smile that crosses his lips but doesn't really touch his eyes as he hears that.
You can snuggle down into that comfy chair. And we're going to hop back over towards the dance studio, where the class is slowly wrapping up. And you can see Noah looking a bit sort of troubled, sort of patting his pocket again and his jeans again, sort of having a look around. He's like, "Where's my phone?" Like, as he sort of starts having a bit of a look around, sort of under his bag and everything like that.
Could you have maybe left it at home?
Maybe. In fact, well, that's a good point, actually. I might have done. Can't get to it without my keys, though. Oh, Mum's gonna go mad.
When
He
does
just sort of start chatting to himself.
Oh no, that's a crappy situation. I mean, if you can't get into your house, you could always stay at my place for now until you.
I mean, it might be less terrifying than going asking my mum for the spare set of keys.
Maybe I could help you with getting the lock to open without the key.
And he sort of leans over just slightly. Do you break into houses?
No,
and Bala leans into.
No, sometimes my father comes back with these chests that he buys at different markets, and sometimes the locks are old and rusted, and I have to work on it a little bit, and it comes open.
Huh.
Hmm.
And you can see him think about it for a while. And he's like, "Nah, Mum will know. She's installed one of those new system things that checks who comes to your door."
Well, she has an alarm system going.
Kind of. It talks back. I don't like it.
It doesn't sound too pleasant.
Yeah, I don't
If
like.
you're breaking in, it's worse.
It's not nice when my devices talk back to me. That's it makes me uncomfortable. Gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah,
It's worse when they laugh at you.
Yeah, it does that. When you knock yourself out for the 6th time, you think it developed a funny personality. You can see him sort of like hooking his bag over his shoulder, which you're pretty sure there's still a lot of the book still in, as he sort of does it, sort of like as he puts on this weight.
Well, I hope everything works out for you, Noah. If you need our help for anything.
Yeah, cool.
Well,
you.
no, you won't call. No.
Yeah,
You don't have your phone.
No, I don't have my phone.
But
I'll find you. It's fine. It's fine. You know,
probably.
you're in the same place, right?
Yep, just me and my mom and Felonious.
Okay. Oh, I like Felonious. As he sort of like looks down at this little sort of this gecko that sort of suddenly starts to change into a green. as it snuggles down. He sort of hides at the name Thelonious.
Yeah, Polonius. Polonius. Like she kind of leans towards the pocket.
You see, no, just like, wait for a little bit. Yeah. Well, I mean, I might, you know, hold you to that. Give me an hour, and he sort of starts to head out of the studio.
You did really well today, Noah. By the way.
I did?
Yeah, you did.
Oh.
So I'm really proud of you, actually.
Thanks.
B plus.
And he sort of goes a little bit red and like scratches the back of his neck. He's like, I've got B plus. Huh.
Well, now you just have to get an A plus on that exam next week. Okay? Promise?
Look, when I can get back in the apartment, I will study.
Okay, make it happen.
I will. And he just sort of like gives you a wave and he's like, bye, Nadine, see you tomorrow. And starts
Bye. As he's turning around, Prema's gonna like kind of have his arms across his chest and shake his head. He's gonna like zoom over to the backpack and checking to make sure all the zippers have been zipped up properly before he's out the door.
You see this, you see your otter sort of quickly whiz over, and he does up about 3 zips. As you can, and literally as he does, you can see him sort of, you're not sure what it is, but he quickly nudges something back in a pocket as it's going to fall out.
Nadie, what are you up to after this?
I didn't really have any plans. Father's out on one of his voyages, so it's just going to go home and maybe get my new cuttings into soil, but that was really it.
Well, that sounds like a nice time, but my shift at the cabaret was canceled tonight, so I was gonna go to my favorite spot to hang out and read a little if you wanted to come along.
I'd love that. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, no, you should follow me. It's a small place. Not a lot of people go there. It's called Brew and Bindings. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No, but I like small and more intimate places. You get to learn more people and figure out who they are. And if there's books, it's even better.
Yeah, there's lots of books there, but I usually bring my own.
I'll keep that in mind for next time.
Yeah. I mean, I have some great reads if you need me to lend you one. Most of it's like history. I don't know if you're into that.
History of everything or just...
Of anything. I just like the past month, the past year, or like the past millennia. Whatever floats your goat, or floats your otter.
Do you have like a history of like folklore?
I actually don't personally, but I'm sure that there's a book about that in the library.
I'll have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, if you just grab your bag and follow me, I can lead us there.
Oh, of course. Lead the way. And she's already like got the bag in her hand, and Prema's just sort of swirling around, kind of. He's kind of like around her shoulders a little bit, just sort of taking in what they're talking about to make sure it all sounds copacetic, and he's okay with the idea.
Cool. Yeah, and Paula will also, just like grab her bag, and she'll check her phone to make sure that her mom didn't call. And if not, then she will just lead the way.
You see a message on your phone. It literally just says dinner on the counter.
And I respond and I say, thanks, Mom. It's going to be a late night.
And you just get back.
Yeah.
And okay.
Is everything okay?
Yeah. No, everything's good. Just my mom. She's just checking in on me. She's great. Yeah.
That's good though. It shows you are on her mind.
Oh yeah, no, she's always thinking 3 steps ahead. She's wonderful. But for now we read.
Yes, we'll go.
We dance.
We'll go
for now
for
we
book.
read. Yeah.
I like that. That makes for a very good day. I've gotten
Right?
plans. I've danced, and I go read.
And you can both head out the studio and walk together. You walk past that main tree in the center of probably one of the largest streets, like the North Street, and it is lit up again by these sort of firefly-esque things that seem to have landed in some of the flowers that stay open overnight. And Nadi, you notice these are very similar flowers to the ones you gained clippings of. As you see, as the fireflies sort of enter them, they sort of tweak
Looks
their
like we got a
colors
new
here and there
friend.
depending on the brightness. Almost like little lanterns hanging from the tree. And it's sort of, the tree itself sort of rustles. It's almost as if it's getting comfortable. And it's like you can see it relax as you see some of the leaves sort of not drop from the branches, but the branches seem to relax as a breeze sort of rushes through it. And I need you both to make an intellect check for me, please. Should just be the little dice side next to intellect. Oh, okay.
The little dice. Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's just literally right next to the intellect.
And then I should do, what should I put for difficulty?
Oh, don't worry, just leave it. Just
Hit submit.
Yeah.
Effort. And then do I have to spend effort? Sorry, I don't know how to play Cypher system.
No, don't worry, you don't need effort for this.
Okay.
I'll tell you when you can use that. Oh my god, you two, okay. So you two you're walking down this high street and it is lit up. You can see some bars that are open, you can hear music. You're very aware of everything around you. There are a few people out at some of these bars. There's these tables set outside. The evening is warm. And some people sat outside having drinks, chatting, watching the world go by. But over at the other end of the street, there is someone stood there. And they are looking directly at both of you. You move from side to side, you can sort of look around, but they don't move. They just watch.
You're seeing what I'm seeing down that way, right?
Yeah, I am. It's making me a little uncomfortable. I'm thinking we should go the long way just to, get out of sight. And I'll guide Nadi around a weird way to stay out of sight of whoever this creep is.
You can go back the way you came, and you all know the streets, the alleyways and stuff like that. And in these alleyways normally during the day it's markets, so they're thinner, but you can see where all the shops are slowly closing up for the night as everything's being packed away. And if you glance back, as you turn your backs and move away, you see, so does this person. Turns their back on you and walks in a completely different direction.
We're two attractive women. This probably was nothing. It was probably nothing.
Yes, and they didn't follow or try to, go same direction. So maybe they just didn't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah, probably. I'm feeling a little guilty now. Maybe they needed help or something.
Well, maybe, but better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah. Yeah,
Plus
better to be. Yeah.
It's getting dark and, it's not best lighting. So different directions, it's no problem.
No problem. Yeah. And Paula actually is used to this kind of thing because she's always wandering the streets at night. Like that's like, you know, she's a night owl and she's always about at night. So she's not totally foreign to weird people that on the streets.
And because of this, you know the routes quicker as well, I'd say. And sooner rather than later, as much as you go down just a slight, when I say you walk down a darker path, it's just not as well lit as the main high street where everything is buzzing. But you can hook round the side, and down by the river, you see some steps that go up, and you can see the light coming out from the shop window, well, cafe window of Brew and Bindings. This cozy little shop. You can see the guy behind the bar that you see sort of smiling every time you go in, and that same greyhound that you can see sort of paws up on the bar, keeps getting shooed to get off the bar, but every time Averick turns his back, those paws go straight back up, sort of looking around the cafe, focusing on what looks like a very, maybe just almost like a grouchy older man sat in a chair as this dog is watching him smell this coffee and read this book.
So here we are. This is home away from home. It's not much, but if you want, you can order coffee over there or grab a book over there. There's that dude. I see him around a lot. I've never really spoken to him though. I don't.
It's a lovely place. It's like a little gem no one knows about.
Yeah. No, it's quaint, you know.
Nadia's going to go right towards to order coffee more so because she's noticing the greyhound than anything else.
Yeah, this greyhound, you can see its attention immediately draws away from the man and watches this otter sort of swim through the air around you. Not in a bad way or anything, just sort of just watching this otter go. And this fairly tall, smiling man turns round, dark hair, sort of ruffled. He's like, "Hi, what can I get you?"
Do you have chamomile tea?
I do. And you can see him sort of turn around, and you suddenly realize the wall behind this coffee sort of machine is just a wall of tea and different types of coffee, all in these tiny little boxes, all these little metal cases. And he sort of moves along. He's like, okay. And he sort of clicks his finger as he sort of goes to boil this kettle on this stove. And the small tin sort of drifts down into his open hand as he starts stoking this fire. Because this isn't powered by magic. The stove itself isn't. It is a fire. And he starts to make tea and looks back. And he's like, Paula, you're back. What can I get you? The usual or something different?
Why don't we change it up today? You know, I brought a new friend with me, so it's a perfect time for change, you know. Spice it up a little bit.
Well, what can I get you?
Why don't you surprise me?
I can do that. And he starts sort of scouring these shelves, and he leans over quickly, the thing to Nadine, holds her hand out. He's like, Averick, hi.
Hello.
Friend of mine, so.
I'm Nadine. It's very nice to meet you.
Nice
and
to
this
meet
is
you.
this is Prema. He won't bother. He's just protective.
And he sort of then looks down at Clyde, who is still following this otter in the air. He's like, this is Clyde.
Hello, Clyde.
Sort of gives him a little scratch on top of the head, almost to distract him from the otter, rather than, you can see there's almost this like slight concern that this Clyde is going to dive over the thing towards this otter, not out of excitement, not anything else. And He's well. Why don't you go and sit over? Go find somewhere to sit, and I'll bring your tea over.
Oh, thank you very much. Is it okay to go pick out book first?
Oh gosh, yes. Help yourself. Help yourself.
Do you have anything about folklore?
There's a few at the back. I don't really know exactly what, but people come in here. They bring books. They leave them.
All right.
So you can have a look.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
She'll go over, and as she's going over, she's actually like pulling Prima down. You need to behave yourself. You're new here. You have to be a good guest. All right?
And I kind of like tap Nadine on the shoulder and be like, I'm just gonna head to the bathroom and wash up a little bit. I feel kind of like sweaty after dance classes. It's like a ritual. I have to wash up. So I'll be back out in a minute. Okay.
Oh, no worries. It's wonderful. That'll be wonderful.
Okay. And Paula's gonna like just creep to the bathroom and give her mom a call.
You hear the phone ring and it picks up. Hello?
Hi, Mom. Sorry about tonight. I know you were expecting me.
It's fine. Food's on the side. As always, it's all good.
Thanks, Mom. I made a friend. Well, I mean, I've known her for a while, but we're hanging out. So I just...
A friend?
Yeah.
Good.
So...
Like you can hear sort of like the approval, but also the sort of wariness in the voice at the same time.
Yeah. So so I just wanted to apologize for ruining our plans. It's not every night that I have off from the cabaret. Yeah. Okay.
It's fine.
Well, as long as you're good, if you need anything, you can just call and I'll come right home. Okay?
Yep. You don't need to rush home at all.
Okay.
I've got and you sort of hear a brief pause as you hear purring down the end of the phone, just like, I've got this one who has just shredded my favorite scarf, haven't you? And you just sort of hear like quite quietly like this sort of very happy purring of a cat that sounds very pleased with itself. I'm not relating at all.
Polonius. Well, just make sure he doesn't get out of the house because Clyde seems worked up today and I don't think he's up for a taste of Polonius tonight.
It'll be fine. It's fine. It's fine. And you sort of almost hear her drifting away from the phone as she's like, go and have fun, sweetie, and I'll see you in a bit.
Okay, I'll see you later, Mom.
Okay, I'll see you later. Okay, put that down. Like as you sort of you hear it just sort of almost like as a distance, like love you. You can hear she's probably run off to stop something. And I'm going to take a very quick bio, so I will be back in a moment. I'm sorry.
Okay, chat. How much are we all loving this incredible world
Oh
that
my
Alex
God.
has made for us?
Oh my God. I'm like getting teary-eyed at how sweet it is. It's just like, this is just
bursting at the seams with
Yes.
love.
yes. It's just like, oh.
I mean, these visuals of the plants and I'm there. I am
Oh,
so
absolutely.
there. It's just, and I know this has been a project that she's been wanting to do for so long, and so in her first real long campaign, and I mean, cast, we're about to live here for the next.
We get to live here.
I can't
I
wait.
know, right?
It's like, oh. I'm just like.
I'm so excited.
I'm not kidding. Like I was getting teary-eyed with some of her descriptions because it's just so peaceful and beautiful. I'm like, oh my God, this is like heaven.
Aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So aesthetic.
Oh.
We have cat show ourselves. There's Hildy.
She's gonna go find a scarf.
Hildy is a huge inspiration for Felony.
No doubt. I don't know. I mean, well, the thing is with I think this one for Alice, because she doesn't have season constraints, I think this is going to be a long, slow, interesting burn. We can't wait.
No
So okay with
complaints.
that.
No complaints at all. Oh,
Yeah.
I know. We were just gushing about you while you were
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Oh,
we're in love. We're absolutely enamored.
So much.
I'm glad. See, chat, I can do something nice.
Alice does wholesome.
I was going to say, when does Cthulhu show up? I mean,
Oh
part of
my
it's underwater.
Nice.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna right.
The water.
I know, right? Who does not want Bruin bindings in like their hometown?
Oh, could we please?
It reminds me so much of a coffee shop that I used to go to all the time in college, and now I'm just like
Yes.
reliving it, and it's such a
It's based on one I went to at university called Splitting Strings, and it is exactly the same,
Oh, I love it.
including dog behind the bar.
Oh, good.
So but
That's
he was,
even better.
The best.
Clyde, our Great Dane barista.
yeah.
I love Clyde.
Clyde can sell me whatever he wants. Oh my god, it's so adorable.
So
So darn sweet.
whereabouts is Charlie at this point? Have you caught the tram back? Are you walking?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, I think seeing that places are still open, she doesn't normally go anywhere after nightfall. Technically, it's just like it's time to go home and sleep because sleep is good. But she's gonna go to this coffee shop because if they've seen her brother, she wants to know. And I think she's brought the travel mug with her just to like double check that like the signs match. And so I think she's just kind of stood outside like, okay. And of note, like since it's gotten like a little bit cooler, she was carrying it before, but she's put on this big like jacket that is several sizes too large for her. But it's like it has the look of a garment very well loved, and it's like full of patches and things, and that's why this one fits very well. But yeah, so she's put that on over like some other layers and has had her headphones on like on the way here, and just kind of taking them off because like we're about to talk to people probably. And yeah, she'll head in and not really look around. It's more that she just kind of like listens for a second to just like get the vibe. And once she realizes that it's very chill right now. And so she'll head over to the like main bar.
You can see on the tables that someone is going around lighting candles just for the center of the table as the lights sort of dim a little bit. And you can walk up to the bar and there is a man there with scruffy black hair, a smile on his face, and a Great Dane that is currently lying around his feet.
I'm smiling at this dog more than I'm looking at this person.
Yeah. And the person actually sort of tries to make eye contact. He's like, "Can I get you anything?"
Oh, hi. I wanted to ask whether you'd seen someone today. I'm sure you're like super busy, but I found this. I will just hold up my actual book. And I was wondering if you'd seen someone. He's like probably a good foot taller than me, dark hair, bit of scruff. I haven't seen him in a while, and this was in his apartment, so I was thinking maybe he'd been by.
And he sort of like scratches his head, and you can see he's really trying to think, and he's like, I mean, we haven't had many people in today, and I don't recall. anyone. I mean, I can keep an eye out. I guess they come back in. And he sort of looks quite helplessly at you as he doesn't.
No, it's fine, thanks. I mean, you can refill these anywhere, right?
Yeah. What do you want? A cup of tea or something?
Just kind of look across this vast wall of tea. Do you have anything decaf?
He looks for you for a long
Purple?
second.
Oh no, did I freeze?
He really has to think this over.
Really, Barista man. I understand.
You
That
stumped
was
him.
perfect timing. Like
It was the perfect.
Am I back yet?
You
You're
are back.
Okay.
Goodbye.
I
It was a cute trade.
It was perfect.
Yes.
because I've done some hideous ones.
No, it was good.
Is that herbal? I can do herbal. I don't really do the decaf thing, but
Yeah, I just can't have caffeine. That's
I can
okay.
do herbal. And he sort of starts reaching down again. You see these sort of almost like silk-like tea bags with these flowers. Some of them you've seen growing around, sort of in there. And as he pops them in and pours the water and they start to open, he sort of just, again, pushes it over the bar to you. Help yourself. See, I mean, there's only a few spaces left. This is sort of quite a small, cozy coffee shop.
Yeah.
And you do recognize someone.
I recognize
Very
too.
Cool, long chair. Yes, you do.
I think, like, turn,
Yeah, I guess.
turn around.
Has someone sort of went up towards Clyde and sort of up there, and sort of the reaction, Tolan bristles, almost like a storm cloud over his little corner, and looks down at his book, but he just is glaring at this this person who has entered into Bruin Bindings and is he is almost, you can tell he wants to say something, but he won't, but he's not. He just, they're just shooting daggers over his totally ignored book at this point.
In fact, as she turns, she's gonna do a little spell effect that makes her less noticeable. In an attempt. I don't know if you want me to roll for this, Alice. It's one of those, like...
If it's an ability, just describe it to me, how you do
it. It's kind of like this broadcast of, like... It's almost like an anti-signal. Like when you get... it's almost like when you look over to her, your eyes just are drawn away. Like, I don't know, water and oil sort of thing. It's not like forcing you away, and it's not an invisibility thing. Like, since you've already seen her, I don't think it's gonna make much difference. But other people will just not really notice. And she's gonna try and just like peruse the rest of the shop on the other side.
Total grumpy old man from over there, just and just continues to glare, but then does the, knowing that you notice that he's glaring at her, is just like the very back to his book. You will not be disturbed by this. I mean, he is. And just like very much, makes his territory known in this place.
And Paula and Nutty, you probably notice.
Oh, yeah, this is not subtle. Tolan is not subtle about this.
Nadi would actually miss most of it until Charlie does her, like, don't detect me thing. And then she'll, like, perk her head up and realize that something else is going on. That's what would actually clue her into anything. She'd be totally oblivious to this tension. It's just how she operates.
Yeah, and Paula's like walking out of the bathroom and she sees Nadi perk up. Hey, what's up, Nadi?
I think I've met her. She's very sweet. I'm just going to say a quick hello, if you don't mind.
Oh, her? Over there? Oh. Yeah, okay. You guys know each other? I mean, I've seen her around.
She's very sweet. You want to meet her too?
Yeah, I mean, we've met. I don't know if she'd remember me, but yeah, okay. That's fine.
Is it okay if I bring her over to table, maybe? Because
Yeah.
I don't think that he wants her too close to him.
Oh,
Whoever
okay.
he is. I don't know him, but he does not
Yeah,
look
no.
happy.
No, he never looks happy. But yeah, okay. Yeah, let's more friends the merrier, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. So Nadi would go over to Charlie. Hello, remember me?
She kind of like startles a bit, not expecting anyone to really have like recognized her at this point. And it's like, oh, hey, you haven't been by the shop in a while.
No, I've been exploring, but I have your terrarium I made for you. Remember I was telling you about the terrarium I had in mind just for you.
Oh,
And she's gonna take this little, it's like a pyramid shape, but it's sort of like almost upside down, and there's a little pedestal that it sort of nestles into. Look, see, this just for you. It has the glass that has the iridescence to it, so it kind of picks up colors here and there when you turn it around.
like sets her tea down, like honestly on a shelf. And takes this and is just like marveling at it. It's just like, this is so nice. Thank you.
I've been keeping it close in case we bump into each other. And look, we bump into each other. Do you want to come sit with us? We just got here and we have our drinks coming soon, and I've picked out the book and we can just chit chat. Only if you want to, though, no pressure.
Like, looks over at who we are, and seeing Paula is actually like, this is a weird coincidence, but sure.
You know her?
Yeah, we not this coffee shop, but I go to one down it's like XY Street. That I don't know. There's a post box right there. I write letters, and so it's really convenient on before work. I'm not usually out this late.
Me either, but it sounded like something fun. Get some drink and read books.
Sure.
Hi, Charlie.
Like made her way over. Started like walking forward. Remembered tea. Yeah, and keeping an eye, just like, I'm going to take the longest way possible over to this table.
Tolan sort of marks, Charlie, and then, other new girl who is with Charlie. So that's, marked and remembered. And then, but they're with Paula, who is always pleasant and quiet and doesn't disturb people and comes in regularly. And, so there's...
Nadi's just gonna be like, quick little wave and follow behind.
Oh, as soon as he knows, it's down in his book. But yeah, he's...
He kind of reminds me of my father when he's had a bad day on ship.
Is he a sailor?
My father is, yes.
Oh, does he run the ferries?
No, he goes on the longer voyages to the other places and he carries cargo back and forth. That's why he's gone for, months. But then he always come home.
Okay. Yeah. That must be hard.
It's life. It's what he's always done.
Yeah. And you got to do what you got to do.
Exactly. That's what Zia Prim tells me.
By the way, hi Charlie. I don't know if you remember me even. Like we talked a little bit that one time, but
No, yeah, I do. Paula, right?
oh, you do. Oh wow, that's wow. Well, in case you forgot, I'm Paula. But
Did you ever check out Aggie's shop?
oh yeah, I haven't actually gotten the time to do that yet. I've been really busy, but it's definitely on the to-do list. Wow, I can't believe you remember all this from that conversation. That's crazy. Like, that's just insane. That's really cool. But yeah, yeah. No, I haven't gotten around to it yet, but someday soon, hopefully.
Just realized she's not always there, but she always has cookies around.
I love cookies, so that should be fun. Well, I'm gonna read. So, and she kind of points to her bag, which like has too many books in it. Like,
And you can all settle in to having your drink and your reading of your books. And Tolan, can you make me an intellect roll, please?
Okay.
Charlie's doing the scrolling through the phone thing. And just very much just like, I'm going to finish this tea and I'm going to leave.
Ooh, that's a 7.
Okay. On that, just a 7. You get that sort of uncomfortable feeling. And this is like your cozy place. This is somewhere where you would venture out just to go here. And you glance over
Wow.
at the bar
This gold is for me.
where
Here you go.
Averick is sort of now cleaning up all of the coffee machines. It's starting to get late. And by the window is a person looking in. Looking in specifically in your direction. But at the same time, you can't tell if he's looking past you at the others that seem to be sat over at another table. And it's not that there's no features on this person, it's that the light is much brighter in here than it is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more that you see the tilt of a head as if looking curiously before turning to the side and walking away from the window. And as this happens, you see Clyde glitch for a split second.
Oh. Tolan is entirely different for a moment as soon as that happens. You see him tense up. He sits up straight. The book is down. And he begins to quickly scan the room. I am going to use my planner feature, special ability.
Mm-hmm.
I'll link it in there. Yeah, there. Wait, came up weird. But basically, if you're the one with the plan. When you observe or study a location for at least one round as your action, the next time you interact with it, possibly in the following round, the difficulty of a related task, such as finding a clue, a tool, or a secret compartment or whatever, is reduced by 1 step. As he begins to focus on what has occurred. Certainly this man, Charlie, has him concerned as well because of their history. But he is on high alert.
You roll me another intellect, please.
I would like to spend some effort on this.
Okay.
And we have 1 effort to spend at this level, correct?
Yes, correct.
Ugh.
Ooh. You don't see much. There's only one thing you do notice.
You know what? I've got a reroll.
You got a reroll? I forgot a reroll.
Way
I got a
I
reroll.
got a reroll. Way from the beginning. I would like to burn my reroll.
Yes, go for it.
17.
Okay.
It's
And on a
difficulty
second,
5.
You effectively hone in on all the little things that you know this shop so well. You know the details, you know the comforts. And as this person walks away from the glass window, not only do you see Clyde glitch, on the windowsill, lined with flowers and plants, they all start to curl up and die. And for a moment, the candles flicker, every single one of them in sync. And there's a light over by the bar, which starts to flicker and sort of static, and you can see Averick like sort of tapping, gives it like a heavy smack, and then it just blazes black on bright.
Can we do something real quick? Just because I need to take a moment to see what Tolan did. Can we do just it can be a very short flashback.
Of course.
Charlie, how did your power manifest in Tolan's shop when you first came in? Or if you want to go into that a little bit, because that's going to be whether or not what happens next with Tolan.
So what happened was Aggie stops by with cookies fairly often. Well, maybe not often, but she tries. And how many times she can actually come in is far less frequent. But she did go with Aggie once. Aggie is a very close confidant to poor Charlie. So she was like, come along, you should meet more people, in that overly kind, motherly way. And she went, that time went fine, didn't go inside, but later she sent Charlie on her own with cookies and was just like, no, it'll be fine. Just go drop them off, knock, and it's fine. When no one came to the door, Charlie went inside and still didn't see anyone, and kind of just set down the cookies and just was really curious about all of this stuff, because it felt familiar in some way. So she was just she was careful not to move anything, but was reaching for something when Tolan kind of turned the corner and then saw her there. Yeah.
Okay, so we never really got to details whether or not you had started to fix something in your own unique way.
I think she was reaching for something just to like see how it worked because she hadn't seen something quite like it before. Like it was
Right.
more
Okay.
like clockwork or something, and she was like, "What the heck?" And I think when she startles is when any of her magic would like kind of spark around her.
Yeah.
And it is a sort of like staticky looking thing. Like,
Shall we jump right into the role play of it?
okay.
Tolan comes around the corner. What are you doing?
And it just
Why
like jumps.
are you here? Who let you in?
The door was open. I came with cookies from Maggie.
Get out. Get out of my... And he looks over and now sees the clockwork, I assume, working.
I think it has. It was
Yeah.
like an unconscious, like, kind of
Yeah.
spark to it. And it's just like ticking slowly.
You're dangerous. You can't just start charging things up that you don't know about. You have to be skilled. You're careless. Get out of here. Get out of here. Stop this. Go get trained.
And she just bolts.
Flashback to current time.
Yeah.
Tolan
And
gets up and makes a beeline towards Charlie.
And thank you for a Cypher donation to Tolan, which is called Friction Reducing Gel.
Ooh.
So sprayed across an area up to 10 foot, making things extremely slippery for 1 hour, and the difficulty of movement tasks in this area will increase by 3 difficulty steps.
Nice. It's a grease
It's
spell.
really cool.
Yep.
As you stand up and approach Charlie, all of you will probably see this.
Oh yeah, he's man on a mission like a storm cloud moving in.
He instinctively puts down this teacup and
You doing this? You being careless again?
what?
Look around.
Do I notice this like flickering
If
now?
you'll notice the flickering, if Tolan points out like the plants and stuff, then yeah, you'll see them.
Yeah, I point. Flickering candles, plants, everything. Is this you?
No.
Something's going on. They were looking at you. There was someone looking at you through the window.
Are you sure it was her, maybe?
Looking at this table. Might be
I'm
someone
just gonna get up and look, like, not running away, but just like as soon as you say someone was looking at me, I am up and like going
No,
out.
he's not.
Or perhaps you looking at Nadi.
Well, she'll look at Paula. Do you think
Yeah,
From earlier.
that's what I'm thinking.
there was a strange person staring us down from end of street, and we took a different way to get here? We thought they'd left because they turned around and went opposite direction than us. We could not see who they were nor get a good look, but we noticed the figure. And they were definitely staring at us. We don't know if it was both of us or me or her.
Oh no.
Just like pause, with, like the door is open and just like in my hand, but like hearing your like commentary is just like
Plus, she takes very good care of plants. I do not think she'd be the one to have things happen to them. Not like that.
Yeah, and Charlie, I don't know if it's a good idea to go out there alone right now if there's someone that's potentially following any of us.
Tolan will go out the door to look because to see if he sees someone he recognizes from his past.
kind of just like shrink away from you as you go by.
Yeah. sort of looks at all of you, and over especially at Averick and Clyde. Stay put for a second. Let me see.
Averick's like, it's fine. I gotta just try and fix this thing anyway. And he's like trying to sort of tap on the light again. He doesn't know what he's doing, really. He's doing some stuff with it, like looking at all the basics.
Yeah. And Tolan will stick his head out to go look down the street. I mean, he's not going to go far. He wants to. I mean, he's not going to go chasing after someone. He knows what lurks.
You can look out the side of.
Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to press that. I accidentally pressed the wrong thing.
You look outside of this cafe, both ways, and there is nothing there. You can hear the water. You can see the lights hovering just above the water. You can hear the trams above you. And there are a few people out. You can hear laughter from down the street, from restaurants and things like that. But you can't see anything.
Welcome to the academy. Please take your seats.
Can I look, and it will be the plants. Can I look at the plants and see if there's anything familiar, and maybe a history of that I've bumped into this, because I took history as one of my skills, or is that more like book learning history?
Tell you what, roll a straight up intellect for me.
Okay. Ooh, an 18.
You look at these plants and you can reach out to them and they are completely dead. In fact, as you reach out and touch one of them, the leaf just crumbles. And there is no sensory to them. You can't feel anything about them. It's whatever was keeping them alive is gone.
Do I recognize this effect in any way? Is it familiar to me?
You think it could have some parts of it is familiar, but not
Right.
fully.
I come back inside. You say there was a dark figure following you.
No, it did not follow, but it was staring at us from down the other side of the street. We were coming from Paula's dance studio, and this figure, it was further down. We could not tell who it was, but they were definitely staring at us, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. But I don't think anything was like flickering like this or anything.
No.
No.
It was nothing like that, no.
If I go outside, can I try and put energy back into these plants?
You can reach out and hold this plant. You can see some plants that are outside the actual cafe. They've sort of withered, they've not fully died. As you reach out and touch them, and you do what you did very much in your brother's apartment, they spring to life again.
Like including these like completely dried up ones?
They do not spring to life.
Ah, okay.
It's like they've been broken.
Does Tolan see that through the window?
I would have said so if it's the glass, if you're looking in that direction.
If you're suspicious of her, I think you'd be watching.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely I'm
Right.
still not convinced. I'm still not convinced it's
Like-
not her doing something careless.
Very just
But
like,
when he sees that, he gets very, very quiet, very introspective for a moment and looks
She's very...
specifically to Nadi, and not just to Nadi, but to her otter.
She's very good person. Prema likes her. Prima doesn't like many people.
I mean, I only spoke to her briefly one time, but she seemed nice enough.
Is something wrong?
Listen, I think we should all just stay inside and see if maybe he comes back. I don't really feel safe. I don't think any of us should go out there alone right now.
Well, the problem is inside isn't any help. He never came. And it has affected everything.
What are you talking about?
Whatever it is, it's not good.
Why are you looking at Prema so intently? Prema didn't do it.
Oh, no. No, of course not. Of course not.
Dude, you're freaking me out. How do we know it wasn't you? Well, I mean, you obviously weren't outside, but you, I don't know.
He puts up his hands. I have no magic.
What else did you see?
Just the figure lingering. And then the different things around the bar. Things started to break, to die.
Nadia's gonna look at him like she's picking up on more, but she's sort of letting him work through it.
There's something terribly wrong.
I think we briefly meet eyes through the window, and Lily just looks away pretty quickly, but it was just this is weird look. And I'm still just gonna look down the street, any direction, really not expecting to see anything, but more on instinct than anything else.
As you do, for a moment, it's like everything stops. Like static in the air. You can feel it. And then from above you, you hear creaking. You hear whirring. You know, above your head is where the tram line goes. The line is cut out. You notice in the river drifting by, these normal floating lanterns have all dropped. They're sinking or they're floating. And then almost one by one, you probably hear it more as you're outside. It's like a bzzz, as lights start to shut off. 1, 2, 3, and then it's in the hundreds, and the whole city starts to fall into complete darkness. And above your head, this tram starts to creak as the line finally gives way and the tram falls. I need you to make a speed check for me, please.
Okay. Starting off strong. Let's get crushed by a bus.
Oh, Charlie.
Since I have a ward up, that's just armor. Never mind.
Spend. Just remember to spend. You can spend effort.
Yeah, let's let's spend some effort on this because I'm afraid.
And the rest of you see Charlie look up, and you do hear this creak, this groan. And then looking out this window, you see Charlie move in a split second.
Almost leaving like this kind of staticky trail as she goes.
And you roll out of the way just in time as the rest of you see this tram absolutely crash outside the coffee shop and smash the window as it falls to bits. And then in the distance, you hear more crashing, everything is shutting down. Tram lines run on magic. It's all gone. The coffee shop is thrown into darkness. It's the last bit that goes. Nadi and Charlie, you feel something bizarre run through you, and you hear sort of like a squeal from Prima and sorry, I don't know why that's something like that. From Prima and from Al, just for a moment, and you can glance over and there's a static, almost like a shiver that runs through it.
Just kind of like hold them like very, very much just like cradle my tiny little fish.
Yeah, Naughty would absolutely like, pull Prima close and like sort of like protective cradle him.
Tolan just starts going, no, 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 no.
In the distance, you start to hear panicked screams as people start to panic as you hear more and more trams drop. Charlie, as you stand outside, just sort of probably on the floor as you narrowly miss this tram that has crashed down, you can see the metal sort of, you had to put your hand up across your face. All the flowers start to close up. And they all start to, they don't die like the plants you saw, but they start to wither and they start to shrink. And almost as if they are recoiling away from everything.
Was there anyone in this tram?
There was no one in this tram. You're in complete darkness. All the fireflies have gone out.
If I do the like phone light thing, does my phone actually work?
Your phone does not work.
Can I try using my hedge magic to sort of create like a glowing aura almost?
You can do that.
Okay.
It's very mild, but it's there.
When the room lights up, or to whatever extent the light glows, you see like Paula's like curled up and like terrified.
Tolan, after sort of going, no, 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 as this was all happening, just, Averick, are you okay? Averick, where are you?
You just see this head like appear from the side, from behind the bar, just like, what's happening?
I look in his eyes with a look that he's seen before, which would probably give him great concern.
And he looks to you and just sort of
I sort of nod to him.
nods. Clyde, come on. And he sort of hops up and starts to try and calm the other people down in the coffee shop who have started panicking and jumping to their feet.
Sir, you've seen this before?
Not exactly.
But something like?
Yes.
Nadi will look down to Paula. Are you okay? Paula, can you speak? Are you okay?
Paula is like, she's shaking and shivering, and this is not my zone. This is not for. I just want to go home. I just want to go back home.
Almost as if you say those words, doof, 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 all the lights come straight back on. It's almost like a power surge. Everything sparks for a moment, all the bulbs blow, and you're all absolutely covered in glass as it shatters. But the lights turn back on. You hear panic, but the lights are back on.
Just
All right.
getting up and
Somebody
in front of the door.
Do we have a cab system in Karnan? Because if so, I want to call a cab.
Paula, could I maybe take you up on offer you gave to Noah? I don't think I should go back to my house. There's no one there but me.
Yes, yeah, you should definitely come with me, or any of you guys who, if you don't feel safe for any reason, feel free to come stay with us back at my place, because this is terrifying. I have no idea what's happening.
Mr. Sir, what happened last time you saw this? Or something like this?
The last time that happened, or something similar, spirit animal died. I need to get to my shop. And he walks out of the coffee shop.
Leave the coffee shop. You can walk that path, dark path, back to your shop. And all the way you can see people panicking, helping each other up, and through the main high streets you see trams have fallen from the sky. You've seen them. The magic sort of blue line that was there is gone. Some of them are in the water where they were stationed. There's no one in them, but you see so many people have had to dodge these falling things, these lanterns. As you see lights slowly start to flicker back on, you see a lot of glass everywhere. But you can make it back to your shop.
Yeah, he's making a beeline. His hands are clenched. And he's looking around him, whereas before he didn't notice anything around him. He's looking at some of the marvelous magical inventions that have now failed. And tears are just streaming down his face as he just tries to get back to his shop. He goes inside and locks the door. His hands are shaking as he puts his kettle on and turns on the fire and just leans into the stove and just weeps in both fear, somewhat, and recognition of, or a feeling of familiarity. And he just stays there for a long time.
What do the rest of you do?
I think seeing Paula shaken up, Nadi would sort of like, almost like get her arm around her and just kind of like hold her closer. And Prema would probably like wrap himself sort of around our shoulders at the same time. Also trying to comfort her a little bit. And then she'd also be looking to Charlie to see how Charlie was after hearing what Mr. Sir, because she wasn't formally introduced, after what Mr. Sir had said to her.
I think Charlie had like gotten up like and kind of come in very like quietly just to see like how things were while that conversation was going. So probably just caught the end of it.
How is your friend? Check your friend.
He's okay. He's always kind of shy and quiet, but.
What about you? Are you okay?
Better than if I had been under that tram, I think.
I don't even want to think about what could have happened to the people in those trams.
There's no one in this one. At
But
least.
the others.
Nothing like this has ever happened. It's very frightening.
Would you feel better if we go back to your house and you can check on your mother?
Yeah, oh my gosh. Wow. I feel like such a jerk. I didn't even think. And I checked my phone.
The phone doesn't seem to have been working.
Oh, crap. All right. Yeah. I mean, getting home's gonna be a pain without the trams. But
My place is closer. At least walkable. I mean, I know you want to get home to your mom, but
you know what? I know if it would be possible to get home without the trams?
You know that there's walkways.
There's walkways. You know what? I really think I should go home. I really am. I'm very concerned for my mom. But you're welcome to come if you would feel safer. I know I would feel safer if you came.
Absolutely.
That goes for you too, Charlie.
I'm just... If whoever that was... Well, now that I guess they're looking at all of us, but... I don't know if I want to drag you guys into this too.
Whoever it was looking at one of us, at least if it's connected to our little friends. Please come with us. I think we'd feel much better knowing you're here with us and okay.
Yeah. Oh, please, Charlie. This is a big deal.
Okay. Oh, she was going to go for hands in pockets, but still has Al just like curled around like multiple fingers. He's just like not letting go. I'm just like, okay, we're just gonna keep this right here. Like a little bird.
And you can make your way, the three of you, back to Paula's home. And we pan away. As the three of you walk along the street, you walk past a lot of the damage that is lying around, but people seem to be okay. You don't see that dark figure that watches you go as you walk up the high street. And Tolan doesn't see that one that stands outside his shop for 3 to 4 hours until he goes to bed. And that is where we will leave the first session of Doors of Dunera. Everyone okay?
Shook.
I'm back in an Alice game.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm here for it.
Oh
I'm so
my god,
glad.
Alice.
Oh.
So,
Crazy.
we are probably going to head over to the Discord. We would love chat to come join us because I would love to hear chat's favorite bits, as well as I'd love to hear all the players' favorite bits. Also, new thing that I'd like to hear from the chat: if you had some sort of spectral animal, what would it be? Because I kind of want to know. But yes, please check out all the links that are going into chat right now, especially our wonderful sponsors, Bird in the Storm and also Mage Hand Press. We couldn't do this without them. So thank you so much. Keep evoking emotions, and I'll see you back here for session 2 next Monday. Bye.
Ah.